Hello and welcome to another episode of Coffee Fusion. This week we're going to look at a do-it-yourself distributor. Hey everyone, so the other day I was playing around with some different distribution methods when I had some spare time. Just playing around with coffee and seeing if I could get even more out of my extraction. And it led me to thinking, what is it that I really want from a distribution tool, and is there anything around the house that I could use to make one? So one of the main problems you get with a lot of distribution tools is that they just distribute the top of the cake, and you rely on how your grinder drops the coffee into the basket as to how the bottom of the coffee cake is distributed. And I always thought about a stabbing kind of distribution tool that can get into the whole coffee cake before you do the tamping. And then I saw a whisk that we had that we weren't using anymore, and I thought maybe I could use this to experiment. So first of all, I'd recommend if you're going to try this at home, just to be careful, because that whisk is kind of bent around and you start cutting those parts and they start kind of springing open. So just be careful when you're doing it. But basically what I've done is cut the whisk down to size, and then I've taken these little prongs that come out and bent them out so that they fit around the whole of the basket. The resultant prongs are a little bit sharp, so again, just be careful with that. And when you're spinning this little distribution tool you've made around in the basket, just be careful not to scratch the basket. But yeah, so after I've bent it around, I've span it in the coffee and it works pretty well. I would recommend trying it with a jam funnel as well, because then you can spin a little bit faster. I had to be very careful when I was spinning without that funnel, just because the coffee might fall around the sides. I think this is a pretty cheap and great distribution tool for at home. Probably won't work in the cafe setting because you have to be a little bit too finicky and fiddly when you're actually spinning that little prong around. So let's have a look at some extractions. First of all, this is one where I've just really put the coffee from the EK into the little dosing cup, straight into the portafilter and tamped it down. And here's another extraction where I've just done a little bit of palm tapping. And then lastly, this is the extraction with the distribution tool as well. So there wasn't a major difference in flavour between the palm tapping and the distribution tool. If anything, the distribution tool looked like it ran just a little bit better through the naked portafilter. But yeah, they were pretty close. At the end of the day, this was a little bit of fun. Basically, you could probably pick up a whisk for $5 somewhere and chop it down yourself, and you have yourself a little DIY distribution tool. For me, the best thing is always to keep experimenting with coffee, playing around with it, see if you can discover something new, and that's what this was all about for me. So I'd like to know in the comments below, how do you distribute? Are you going to mess around with something like this, create your own little Frankenstein distributor? Or do you have one of the more commercial products? Or do you just do a palm tap or something similar like that? Again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you found this useful, just give it a little like, that always helps the channel. If you have a friend that's into coffee, maybe show this to them, because it is a little fun game you can play around with your distribution. Pretty easy to do. And if you are going to make one of these distributors, again, just be careful making it. Alright, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Keep frothing!